Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Welcome Grove Homestead. We are doing a little project today, actually several projects today, but one of them is going to be building a goat feeder, a hay feeder. We have been, as we kind of get our farm established, we've been putting hay in buckets and troughs and all kinds of different things, which, you know, is fine until you realize goats will knock over literally anything and trample on it and pull hay out.
And then not eat it.
And then not eat it. Because they're
it's dirty.
picky. They're dirty, dirty hay. I do have my sister Monica with me today for one last day. That's really sad. You should just move here.
I'll think about that.
All right, she's gonna think about that. We'll get back to you on the progress.
I did stay extra for this one project, so this is a very special project.
It was literally, she moved her flight from like 5 in the morning till 4 in the evening just so she could burn trash and build a feeder with me. The first thing we're gonna do for you this morning is lay out the ingredients of this recipe for a homemade hay feeder. It's gonna be basically using cattle panel and wire and then bending it up in a way that you can then hang it onto a fence, some sturdy fencing, or the side of a kennel if you house your goats in there. We have already completed one this morning, so this is not the first draft, which is good because that's always fun to do a how-to on something you've only ever done in your head. So this is what you're gonna need. First, you are gonna need 6 feet, well, 6.5 feet of cattle panel. Right behind us, we have this, I believe it's 6-inch square cattle panel, and we are gonna end up making kind of a U out of it, a compressed U. You're also gonna need some 16 gauge wire to kind of hold the edges together, then some carabiners to do your ultimate hanging. To cut cattle panel, if you've never done this before, you will need some bolt cutters because it is pretty intense stuff, or some kind of reciprocating saw that can cut through some good steel, okay? And of course then a fencing tool or something to pull, pliers, something like that to pull that wire nice and tight. And that's about it. It's not a whole lot of ingredients, but it makes a deliciously amazing recipe.
The goats up there thought so.
They thought so.
I think they'll think so.
Yeah, it's all in the lead. Is that the lead ingredient? No, not lead. The things I'm led to say. Terrible.
Stop.
I should stop now. All right, let's do this.
Well, I appreciate you all enjoying my first attempt at using bolt cutters. Sorry, my first successful bolt cutter use. David makes it look a lot easier than it actually is, just to be clear. Hopefully the demonstration showed that.
So your final piece after you've done all your cutting is approximately 10 squares long. We aim for specifically an even number of squares so that we have a bar at the bottom. Right now we're going to show you what it looks like to bend it, and my lovely assistant, Juris Doctor Monica, she has a piece of twine, and what's going to happen is this is really, I mean, this steel, it's pretty high in strength, and so when we bend it, it's still going to want to spring back. So we're going to tie it shut so then we can wire it and not have it, you know, fling out and beat us in the face, and that's always fun. Hello. Okay, we are filming at this very moment, but I will be there to kill it in a minute. Cool, that's exciting. Okay. All right, cool. Bye.
Turtle on the trap?
Yeah. So usually we don't answer our phone when we're in the middle of filming, but that was kind of fun. It was my father-in-law who said he was down at the pond checking turtle traps, and they caught a snapping turtle.
Success!
Success!
That's
we're trying to rid our pond of snapping turtles.
3 this week.
Yeah, so hey, turtle soup. Yum yum.
Speaking of hay.
Oh, hey. Oh, speaking of hay, let's do this. All right, so here we go. We are gonna bend this thing, and we are going to hold it open with
a piece of rope.
Send it up to me. Helps to have one person stand on it, because then you're literally bending against their weight. Okay, and then you can stand it up. And tie her off. Excelente. And there you have it. You're all done. Presto. See, it's a pretty good setup if you ask me. That twine will definitely hold forever, including
the goats won't chew on that twine, right?
They will neither chew on it or put any pressure.
No.
Actually, it's funny because goats are notorious for climbing on things, especially things they shouldn't, and chewing on things that they shouldn't. So I guarantee if they chewed that, they'd get whacked real quick in the head by flying metal and then hay dumped on them just to boot. Anyway, we are going to use our wire now to wire these ends shut. We have measured out 2 bundles of 6 to 8 feet of wiring, and we are going to just weave this back and forth and make sure it's, you know, as tight as possible, because once we take that twine off, we obviously don't want it to spring back. But yeah, not a super high gauge wire, 14-ish gauge. I think we're working with 14 or 16, something that is strong enough to hold it though. Okay, so we just finished our first side and we're gonna show you this and then flip it over. So there we got one side all done. Right now, it's time to do the other side. Well, or I should say, hey, there you have it.
Hey.
Hey. So a while back we were doing hay out in the fields, and we were trying to share some of the excitement of the process of gathering hay. And we're getting done, and I filmed so many great dad jokes to share with everyone about hay. One of them I'm gonna share with you today, and I did share on our live, so I apologize if it's a rerun for you. But I was hysterical for like several minutes. The kids were cute. It was one of the greatest shots ever. And then we realized that microphone on the camera came unplugged. And we're like, oh no! So, you know, little behind the scenes there. But anyway, there was this farmer who had a scarecrow, and he wanted to give him an award for being outstanding in his field, as farmers are known to do for their scarecrows. And the scarecrow, super modest fellow, really good at his job, turned down the award. And the farmer said, why? He says, I'm too modest. He says, but you're so good at standing out there. He says, hey, it's in my genes.
I did a laugh actually the first time you said that. I'm just shaking the head. It's obligatory.
I have to. That's how dad jokes work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rerun dad jokes.
Rerun.
Even more
it
so.
It gets funnier the second and third time. Even the fourth time, funniest yet.
Cracks
all right.
himself up. You
Well,
want to show him this side?
here we go. Let's take a look at that one. Got it all laid out here. I want to show you why we chose an even number of boxes, right? So we chose 10 because then you have a bar going across the bottom to support that hay. In our first draft, we did it with basically there was a gap at the bottom, and so we had to run wire, and that was because we used an odd number of boxes. And now this one is going to just have that nice support so the hay doesn't fall through. Now, ultimately, depending on the size of the cattle panel you use, you may lose hay out the bottom, but realistically, you're going to lose hay from cattle and goats pulling it out of whatever feeder you use. So we're just going to crank it down. Now, you can throw something like a smaller size square, like a 2x2 or a 1x2 down the bottom to keep hay from falling out. And that's perfectly acceptable. We just ran some wire on our last draft, and we could do that again if we wanted to make this a little less hay falling through, but we're not gonna. We're gonna see how this works alone. Let's get that wire put up here, and we'll be good to go. Meanwhile,
Very helpful, Java. Maybe lock him in there so he's not trying to find my lap. Thank you.
that is a happy goat.
You should really care for your animals better.
Yeah, you should love your animals, Mama. He looks tortured.
He looks distressed. This is one of our wild ones. I don't think Pippin will be quite this relaxed.
No.
Wow, that goat is hysterically calm.
Thank you.
No cucumbers for his eyes? What the heck?
Subpar.
Subpar.
Substandard.
2 out of 5.
Will appear in his Yelp review.
The farm said they had a full spa. I call that a half spa.
I'm gonna go.
Nailed it. Last thing is you're gonna need maybe a 2 feet piece of wire, and we're just gonna wrap it as many times as we can to keep the width the same. And we're gonna go right over our twine here. All right. So now that we got the wire just kind of looped around, We're gonna do just a twist braid type thing so that we can keep that as strong as possible. Using a fencing tool, we use the puller on the back, the claw, to just kind of go around and twist, and that keeps that nicely braided, gives it a good strong final product. And we'll show you what that final product looks like right now. So there you have it. It is now complete in its off-mounted position. This is what it'll look like if you were to just mount it in a way with carabiners or something. So you could carry it to your hay storage area. Obviously you don't store all your hay where your goats can get to it. What we're gonna do is we're gonna mount it in a semi-permanent way to the kennel that the goats are stored in at night. Stored in, kept safe in. They live in when it's dark, and so no animals can get to them.
Their bedroom.
Yes, in their bedroom, right, of course. And then we bring hay to them. So that's kind of, this is big enough that it should last them at least a day or two. So your options for hanging these are pretty, straightforward. You could wire it. If you have extra wire, you can use carabiners, makes it less permanent. Today we just use zip ties. We don't anticipate moving this thing around very often, so if we do need to move it, obviously we can cut these zip ties. And what I'm going to do right now is just kind of trim the ends off the zip ties we hung so that they are not, getting munched on by goats. Then we will fill this thing up. Well, how does it feel to be stuffing food in a project you helped create?
I love it. I feel we're very accomplished.
Nice.
The goats seem happy.
Speaking of happy and accomplished goats, over here we have a reclining goat.
Dying goat.
Dying, reclining. Oh.
I know. Alright, you gotta do a back flip. Back feet are always a little more crazy.
So, can you explain what you're doing over there? Besides giving him a massage and...
I'm trimming his feet because he's not wearing them down on the ground out here. Goats in the wild usually live in rocky mountainous areas.
Like mountain goats.
Like mountain goats. And the rocks keep their hooves kind of ground down and trimmed. Not so with the domestic goats. So you gotta just make sure that they are wearing appropriately or trim them.
That goat looks tortured. In the spirit of full disclosure, again, we've decided to use carabiners to hold this on because Big John decided to jump up on it and broke off several of the zip ties. That's a happy goat. As you can see, we have set this up in this way so that the goats on the inside can feed during the nighttime, and the bigger goats on the outside of the kennel at night can feed from the outside. We only have one hay source instead of a bunch of 5-gallon buckets that they just want to dump over. What do you think? You want to go? Oh, there you go. Thank you, Teddy. Well, thanks for hanging out with us today. Leave us a comment or questions in the comments, and we'll look forward to seeing your thoughts on this exciting project. Also, if you need a pedicure, Amanda's goat specialty is right around the corner. Oh my goodness, this is something you have to see.
All right. Okay.
You too can have your toes done by a genius.
His specialty is goats.
Specialty is goats. So if you have goat feet, this is Java.
This is Java.
This is our buck Java that we're keeping.
In the meantime, I have a question for you.
Yes.
At your goat spa and pedicure location, was it necessary to give the goat a bottle of champagne?
No.
I'm pretty sure he's drunk.
Drunk goat.
What? This is not a natural position for a goat. That's a collapsed goat. What in the world happened?
But he's upright, so if he needed to burp, he could. I mean,
Oh, he's not in any danger.
his ruminants have to burp. You know, you could like not do that with your head.
Interesting theory. Too bad there's no way to test it.
You could lean back that way.
I guess where we're headed next.
Where are we headed next?
We're gonna go catch a turtle.
What?
What?
Yep. Word is there's a turtle on the line.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Wish us luck.
Good luck. My chip drop came. Ha! I've been on a request with chip drop almost pretty much since we landed here. So what it is, there's a service that arborists in the area can come and drop off a load of wood chips from whatever job they've been doing, and it helps them save costs because they don't have to drive all the way back to their depot, and so they'll drop them off for free. So
And what are you gonna do with it?
whatever I want.
Well, what are you gonna do with it?
You can use it for animal bedding. I'm planning on doing some gardening with it, mulching like some gardening areas, so I'm so excited.
Good.
Could not get this in California. I mean, you could, they have chip drop in California, but you don't get to tell them how much you want. You get a load. So.
That's great. Nice. They're watching the turtle trap for us. What's up, buddies? That's a big cow. Bindy's making friends. So we're down here at the pond. My father-in-law Dale's here, Nathan's here, and we are getting ready to pull a snapper out of the pond. Now, this pond has been here for a long time, obviously, and the turtles from all over know this is a place to eat fish. Well, we just planted hundreds of fish. The pond is stocked with hundreds of fish, and we'd prefer to be eating them ourselves rather than feeding wild snappers. So as we can, we are trying to thin those numbers as much as possible. And so we have several techniques that we've used. One is a floating milk carton. One is just a fishing line.
3000.
Yes, the floating milk carton is entitled the Turtle Master 3000. We are hanging, well, I guess a bass head was on this one, right?
Yeah.
So apparently a snapping turtle went after the bass head, and we are gonna go ahead and show you what it looks like.
He's like, you're so mean.
So these turtles, they have a little tongue action that they flick their tongue out, and the fish think, ooh, worm, and so they come and they will kill just about any size fish in our pond, even up to really big bass, and then they'll just eat on that bass for a while. And so we were catching bluegill and bass last night, and we used their head to bait some hooks. So anyway, this is more of a depredation thing. We have neighbors that, and we've researched how to cook and eat them as well. We've yet to use that adventure. We'll see how that goes, but we are going to relocate him away from our pond right away as quickly as possible. So, all right, it's kind of interesting. I'll see if I can get a closer shot so you can see his head. And you want to know why they're called a snapper turtle? I'll let him bite my knife. Watch. Right there. That could take your finger off. They have that beak, and it is, I don't think they have teeth per se, but they have some serious beak power.
There's some serious teeth.
Arrgh, give me that. There we go. Anyway, let's get him elsewhere. Say bye-bye, turtle. Well, thank you all for joining us today. It was fun to have you along. I hope you learned something about building hay feeders, trimming goat feet, and catching turtles. If you're interested in the techniques we use to catch our turtles, it's pretty simple. Just string.
Hook, bait, string, floater, stake.
Shoot, we probably tied that thing to a tree with a 10-foot string. It was just white polyline you get at Home Depot or Lowe's.
Yeah.
Tied it off to the tree, canister, like a milk jug, what, like 5 feet of line maybe?
Yeah.
And bale steel hook on the end with a fish head. Chucked it in last night, and today we had a turtle, so that's pretty interesting. But we're real happy to get him out of the pond, because that is not something we want in there for either our toes or our fish. With that said, I think we had a good day, fairly productive.
Yeah.
And
Go catch some more fish.
yeah, we
Back-
also got
bait some
chips
more.
today. That was pretty exciting. Chip drop. Man, a lot went on the last few hours. Thank you for hanging out with us today. As always, this is not your country nerd, but her muscle saying you can grow where you're planted.